The $100 million
central
mistake
banks come
that spawned Aladdin ultimately
when countries are about to go
machinery,
broke,
they
now
don't call
managing
their
your
economists
retirement.
first, whether you
They
knew
call
it
BlackRock.
or not. During the European debt crisis, Greece, Ireland, and Portugal all turned to Aladdin to understand their financial mess. Central bankers needed answers no one else could provide, and BlackRock's system became their financial translator. The European Central Bank faced a nightmare scenario in 2010. Greek bonds had become radioactive. No one dared touch them, and traditional models couldn't price the risk. "We were flying blind," admitted one ECB official. The solution? They brought in Aladdin to assess the bonds. The system treated government debt like any other asset, cutting through political claims with cold calculations. When Greek officials insisted their debt was sustainable, Aladdin's report showed a 72% chance of default within 5 years. That analysis became the foundation for bailout negotiations. Across Europe, Aladdin became the go-to tool for sovereign risk management. Ireland used it to untangle its collapsing banks, separating toxic property loans from viable assets. The Swiss National Bank relied on it to track reserves, while Norway's sovereign wealth fund, the world's largest, runs entirely on BlackRock's technology. What started as crisis software became everyday infrastructure for governments. The system's real power emerged in modeling bailout scenarios. During heated debates about Greek debt forgiveness, Aladdin projected each option's long-term effects. One official described watching the numbers shift. Seeing 2030's debt-to-GDP ratio change in real time made abstract arguments concrete. These projections shaped decisions affecting millions, with Aladdin serving as the neutral referee nobody could dispute. This government reliance created strange dynamics. Ministers found themselves taking orders from a private company's algorithms. During one negotiation, talks stalled when Aladdin's analysis contradicted political promises. The system's influence grew so pronounced that critics began questioning the concentration of power. How had a Wall Street firm become the arbiter of national finances? The pattern repeated globally. During COVID, the U.S. Treasury tapped BlackRock to value thousands of troubled corporate bonds overnight. The Bank of England paid millions for urgent Aladdin reports during the 2022 UK pension crisis. Each emergency deepened the dependency, with former BlackRock executives now holding top jobs at central banks worldwide. Developing countries present a particularly striking case. Nations building sovereign wealth funds often adopt Aladdin rather than develop their own systems. The software comes preloaded with decades of institutional knowledge they couldn't recreate, but also carries subtle assumptions that shape economic policies. One African finance minister described it as buying a financial philosophy along with the software. Climate change shows where this is heading. As central banks assess global warming's financial impacts, Aladdin already tracks climate risks for investors. It's now being adapted to model green bailouts and sustainable stimulus programs. BlackRock carefully frames this as neutral data provision, but the implications are profound. Private software guiding public policy on existential threats. The contracts stay discreet, the influence growing quietly. Unlike flashy Wall Street deals, government consulting happens behind closed doors. Recent projects include designing digital currencies and climate stress tests, each one feeding more data to train Aladdin's models. Here's the paradox. A system built to prevent financial disasters now profits from them. BlackRock gets called when everything goes wrong, charging premium fees to help pick up the pieces. That original $100 million mistake created a company that thrives on others' crises. What began as a bond risk tool now helps steer economies. Central bankers might make the final calls, but they increasingly rely on Aladdin's math. The genie isn't going back in the bottle, and with each crisis, its grip tightens.